This is music, and this is a Bruce Dickinson rich first impressions video. Welcome to another first impressions video. In these videos, I normally share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up lately. I've also been fortunate enough to receive a ton of awesome VCLTs lately. And in this video, I will follow up on a fantastic VCLT I got from the legend that is Jacob from Jacob's music channel, KRI. Go and check it out. It's a vinyl community channel. He covers everything from death metal to pop music. Diversity, variety. If you want the spice of life, go to Jacob's music channel, KRI, and check it out. So he sent me this fantastic VCLT with some CDs, some 7-inch and some 12-inch vinyl as well. There will be some jarring jump cuts in this video because I'm shooting it in sections just to fit it into my schedule. But let's start out with the CDs. Bruce Dickinson, the best of Bruce Dickinson. This is kind of a promo sampler. Features 3 songs. So you have Broken and Silver Wings. They're both great songs. Kind of modern metal songs with some old school stuff and some kind of alternative metal inspired stuff. They're both quite heavy, but also quite melodic, and they're great songs. But the one that I was the most interested in is the second one here, Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. This is Bruce Dickinson's solo version of it. And most people prefer the Maiden version. It's the same song, obviously, pretty much the same structure. The Maiden version sounds a bit more rough around the edges. The Maiden version sounds like it's recorded in a barn, because it was recorded in a barn, and it has Steve Harris's unique, kind of slappy bass tone on there. Most people prefer that one. This one here has a more polished sound. It reminds me more of the Tattooed Millionaire era production, and a lot of people don't like Tattooed Millionaire. I like it, so there you go. It's fine for me. So it sounds much more polished. The bass tone is warmer and rounder, but performed in a more angular way, if that makes any sense. But I think it's a very good version of Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter. It's tighter, it's more polished. I think maybe I prefer the solo version just a little bit to the Iron Maiden version. Of course, I'm more used to the Maiden version. I have more of an attachment to that, but I think maybe I like the Bruce Dickinson version a little bit better. In any case, it's awesome to have a physical release with the Bruce Dickinson version of Bring Your Daughter to the Slaughter on it. Up next, Bang Tango Psycho Cafe. Glam metal, as you can see. Sleazy, all that stuff. It's from 1989, but it's actually a little bit ahead of its time because it's actually quite funky and quite groovy to me. This is kind of funk metal meets glam metal. It's great stuff. I really enjoy this, but I love funk metal. I know it's a kind of a no-no now, but I love funk metal, and back in the 90s I was all on board with the funk metal stuff. I loved it. I also loved the thrash metal and the true metal. I liked a lot of stuff, which I still do. So awesome. I hadn't heard this one before. You have some really awesome songs on here. I think my favorite is probably Shotgun Man, which is super groovy and funky. You got some kind of popping and slapping bass on here too. You have a couple of cheesy ballads. I can take him or leave him, but overall, I really like this album. Bang Tango's Psycho Cafe. It's so funky in places, really. So that's awesome. Let's turn to the 7-inch singles up first. Alien, Only One Woman, backed with Now Love. So Only One Woman is a cheesy power ballad. it is what it is. But Now Love, I think, is a great melodic hard rock slash AOR song. It has all the cliches that I like about AOR, so I really enjoyed listening to that one. Great vocal melodies, and I do have a soft spot for AOR. Now, a ballad that I actually really like, Skid Row's 18 and Life. I can't relate to the lyrical content, of course, for a number of reasons, but it's a great ballad. Great vocal melodies, great vocals too. It's backed with Midnight slash Tornado, which is a fun hard rock song with some maybe not straight up AC/DC stuff, but some AC/DC-esque riffs. So that's a great song. Some nice chorus too in Midnight. And then the Tornado part is just kind of a cool, groovy hard rock riff that they just appended to the end of the song. So that's weird, but kind of fun. So this one is great. Up next, Tequila Sunrise, Robin Zander and Ann Wilson's Surrender to Me. It's an 80s ballad. I don't know what else to say about it, but on side B you have Dave Grusin's Tequila Sunrise, so I think that might be the theme. I have never seen the movie, and that one is great. It's an 80s kind of midnight music instrumental, so very smooth, but kind of subdued funkiness to it. It's not quite jazz rock, but you have some jazz rock vibes as well. So that one is great. I really enjoy listening to the side B here. So that was fantastic. Now Billy Idol, Hot in the City, backed with Catch My Fall remix fix. So yeah, I had obviously heard this one before. As soon as I dropped the needle, I recognized it. It was a massive hit. It's an 80s pop song with a super memorable chorus. You will remember it for the next 40 years. And you'll, even if you just listen to it once, you will remember it for the next 40 years. So it's a fun song for sure. Catch My Fall is a remix, and it sounds a bit like kind of like an 80s nightclub synth pop song. So that's actually kind of interesting, kind of fun. So there you go. Up next, Def Leppard, Animal, backed with Tear It Down from a massive record, Hysteria. Animal, I think, is one of the best songs on Hysteria. It's got a great chorus. I actually quite like the subdued and kind of melancholic verse. So that's a great song, and Hysteria remains a great album, I think. Tear It Down sounds like a very, very, very polished kind of AC/DC song, but it is enjoyable. Up next, more Def Leppard, Let's Get Rocked, backed with Only at Night, I think. From Adrenalize, this is where I left the Def Leppard ship. I jumped off the Def Leppard train. I crashed the Def Leppard bicycle. I don't know what I'm saying, but Adrenalize was a bit too boring for me. Fortunately, Let's Get Rocked along with White Lightning were the two songs I didn't find boring, and one of them is on here, so that's great. It has a great bridge. I really like the bridge. There's some cool riffs in the bridge and a fantastic, albeit quite short, guitar solo. The B-side is a Mick Ronson song. I don't know who that is, to be honest. That seems to be more like a fun song more than anything else, like one of the fun B-sides. So pretty cool to get to hear Let's Get Rocked again, probably for the first time in, I don't know, maybe 20 years or something. I used to have Adrenalize on CD. Don't know what happened to it. Didn't bother buying a new copy because it bored me. But Let's Get Rocked, I like that song. Up next, Macaulay Schenker Group, This Is My Heart, backed with Vicious. This Is My Heart is a great melodic 80s hard rock song with some fantastic guitar work. Vicious is a bit more upbeat, so almost like 80s hard rock slash heavy metal, again with some fantastic guitar work. So this one is great. I really enjoyed listening to this. Okay, up next, To Be With You by Mr. Big, backed with Green Tinted 60s Mind is what it's called. So, To Be With You, a massive ballad back in the day, an acoustic ballad. One thing that kind of occurred to me when I listened to it this time around, I've heard it a million times, when I listened to it this time around was, insert some electronic beats and have these guys dance, and you have a boy band song. Green Tinted 60s Mind, now that I think is a great, it's still kind of a pop rock with some hard rock elements song. Fantastic guitar work, first of all, and some truly memorable choruses. And this was another song that I have heard before and haven't heard it in 20 years or something like that, and I immediately recognized it. So that this goes to show that they were good songwriters. It's just To Be With You, not my cup of tea. Green Tinted 60s Mind, my cup of tea. No More Tears by Ozzy Osbourne. Now, believe it or not, I was never really into Ozzy Osbourne's solo career, to be honest. I like the stuff he did with Sabbath. That's my favorite Ozzy output. But his solo career never really caught my interest. But No More Tears is a song I've always liked. Great song. Masterpiece of a rock song. There are even some... it's quite heavy. It's quite groovy in parts. It's kind of sad as well. And it has some kind of Beatles stuff going on too. Ozzy is a massive Beatles fan, so it makes sense. It's a great song, and it's backed with Sin or Sin, which is a great kind of 80s sounding metal song too. So this is great. I'm really happy to have this for sure. Like I said, No More Tears, to my ears, is the greatest song Ozzy did in his solo career. Okay, more ballads. One more ballad, I guess. Poison, Every Rose Has Its Thorn, backed with Back to the Riding Horse. So Every Rose Has Its Thorn is it's a ballad. It was a massive hit. I don't care that much for it, but again, the B-side, Back to the Riding Horse, that's a fun hard rock song. I really like that one. It's great fun. So it's quite interesting that a lot of the B-sides are what kind of I really enjoyed about these so far. Okay, Saxon, Wheels of Steel. Now that's a great song. Wheels of Steel. Great heavy metal song. And what's interesting is that it says here that it's backed with Stand Up and Be Counted. But what we actually have on the B-side is Motorcycle Man. So this is actually one of the misprints, which is really cool. I've read about these. Didn't know I would ever end up having one of them. So I think that's great fun. Motorcycle Man, straight up heavy metal song. So this is a very motorcycle themed single. Really enjoyable. More Saxon. Strong Arm of the Law, backed with Taking Your Chances. So Strong Arm of the Law is, I have to apologize to Stormwind 79, it's a bit of a boogie rock song. It's good fun. I like Taking Your Chances better. I think that's a great heavy metal song. Very enjoyable. But, Strong Arm of the Law, it's a fun song. I enjoyed. So this was great to listen to as well. Got some more Saxon. This is Ride Like the Wind. Is it from Destinies? It's from an era of Saxon that I haven't really delved that much into. It's backed with Red Alert. Now, Ride Like the Wind, that one sounds quite commercial compared to the two other Saxon singles I just showed. So maybe this is from the more commercial era that not a lot of people like. I don't know. I quite enjoyed it, to be honest. I quite liked Ride Like the Wind. I prefer Red Alert, to be honest, but I quite like this. So I think I'm gonna go out and pick up this album at some point. Up last, when it comes to the 7-inch singles, Open Your Eyes and So Fine, So Good. That's the B-side by Skagerrak. So Open Your Eyes is a super melodic AOR song. Lots of keyboards and guitars, it's really good. I really like it. Great choruses and all that stuff. Very catchy. So Fine, So Good. Same thing. Melodic hard rock song. Really enjoyable too. So yeah, this is great. If you like your AOR and melodic hard rock, do check out Skagerrak. They also have some more like straight up heavy metal stuff out, but do check that one out. As you could probably gather, I knew a lot of the songs already on the 7-inch singles, but not all of them. And now we're gonna turn to the 12-inch vinyl, and with some of them I know a lot of the songs on them, but some of them are like different versions I haven't heard before, so that's interesting. But up first, an entire album here, Buzzard, Gambler. I was very stoked when Jacob sent me this one because it was one that I've been wanting to pick up. So that's already always cool. I really like this album. It's early 80s heavy metal. So it doesn't have the polished feel of late 80s and mid 80s metal. It's more like the rawness and the attitude of, like I said, early 80s metal. So the songs are high energy for the most part. And I did catch myself going, yeah. Especially on side B. There's some really cool songs on side B. So this one is great. Really happy to have this one. I really enjoyed it. And he also sent me this one here, Midnight Prey, Uncertain Times. Now, this is a modern band, but their style is an emulation of early 80s and late 70s heavy metal and hard rock. So they have this kind of twangy guitar tone of late 70s hard rock, and the style is more like early 80s, an emulation of early 80s heavy metal. Now, one thing that's very interesting is that although they have that style, you can hear that they were influenced by stuff later on in the history of metal. You do have some things that are more similar to mid 80s metal, and one of the songs even has a kind of a weird black metal feel to it, where you have some riffage and you have like your slow blast beat that a lot of second wave black metal bands did back in the day. You have that going on in a song, which is very interesting. So I think this is a great album too. I really enjoyed this one. It's super interesting. I know that there are lots of bands out there now. A lot of them are on Dying Victims Productions, like this band, who have that style. But I think this is super enjoyable. I quite like listening to it. I like the guitar work. The vocals might be an acquired taste, but that was great. I enjoyed listening to this. Now we're going into territory with a lot of songs I already knew. So up first, Motley Crue's Dr. Feelgood, the single here. I think Dr. Feelgood is probably my favorite Vince Neil era Motley Crue song. It's super groovy, it's super funky. I really like it, and Vince Neil actually does sound kind of good on that song. Then you have Sticky Sweet and All in the Name Of on the B side. They're good songs. They're quite fun, especially Sticky Sweet. Very catchy song, very memorable. Stupid lyrics, to be honest, but apart from that, yeah. So this one is great if you feel like, I just want to listen to some Motley Crue, but I don't have a whole lot of time. Bang, there you go. Up next, we started with Bruce Dickinson. We're going to finish off with Bruce Dickinson, Dive Dive Live. So this is a live single with a live version of Dive 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 on side A. On side B, you have live versions of Riding with the Angels, Sin City, and Black Knight. So they are all covers. So Dive Dive Dive, I think, is a great hard rock song from the first Bruce Dickinson album. What's interesting is that this is a really rough and raw live performance. It's very interesting to hear the contrast between the tight rhythm section and then Yannick Gears's wild and chaotic, unpredictable guitar playing. And I'm not trashing him. He's known for that. That's his style. That's just super interesting. And it's also very cool to hear Bruce Dickinson cover AC/DC and Deep Purple as well. So this is great. I really enjoyed listening to it. But I do wish that they had a rhythm guitarist, because when you got the guitar solos going on and just the bass and drums in the background, it does sound a little bit thin. But that's just me generally. I like having rhythm guitar in the background and a solo on top. Same thing with, although Pantera were one of my favorite bands back in the day, and I still love Cowboys from Hell, Far Beyond Driven, and Vulgar Display of Power, I always thought the songs sounded a little bit thin in the solos, and the same thing here. Up next, Born in 58 by Bruce Dickinson, backed with Tattooed Millionaire and Son of a Gun, live versions again. So I really like Born in 58. It's a ballad. It's kind of like a late 80s pop rock, soft rock ballad with some really nice chorus, memorable chorus, and a lyrical theme that's not just I love you, you love me, which was otherwise typical of ballads. So I quite like that one. Interestingly enough, the live material on side B is also quite raw. And again, you have the interesting contrast between the tight rhythm section and the wild guitar playing. I quite like the live version of Son of a Gun in particular, but this is also where the thinness of the absence of a rhythm guitar really shines through. But very cool single for sure. And up last, Tattooed Millionaire. The title track from Bruce Dickinson's first album, and it is backed with Ballad of Mutt and Winds of Change. So Tattooed Millionaire is, as far as I know, it's a song that kind of criticizes the glam metal bands of the late 80s. And what's really interesting is that most of the songs on the album, including the title track here, they're also in a very similar style to glam metal. They just deal with different lyrical topics. And I always found it interesting that Bruce Dickinson would criticize, if that is true, would criticize the excess and bad behavior and lack of morality and all that stuff of the glam metal scene, making songs that stylistically aren't too different from glam metal. But I really like the song Tattooed Millionaire. It's a great, again, sing-along friendly hard rock song. Then you have the Ballad of Mutt. That's just a kind of a silly blues song. Winds of Change is very interesting. It's like an Irish ballad. I quite like that one. I don't know. Should have been on an album or something. So there you go, Tattooed Millionaire. So really enjoyed pretty much all of the things that Jacob sent me, and I'm really appreciative and grateful that he sent me all those cool things, CDs, 7-inch and 12-inch records. I really enjoyed listening to them all. So again, thanks to Jacob for sending me all those goodies. Do check out his channel, Jacob's Music Channel, KRI. What are you waiting for? Go there and subscribe now if you like your music content. Thanks for watching.